a little bit of a break from mapping as I'm going to be going to the mine encampment and just doing some delving again. I've done this on, I think, one previous stream so far this league. Just kind of want to change it up a little bit. Mapping has admittedly felt a bit tedious the last few times I've run through. Just the lag and kind of the different performance issues have just made the experience a little less fun than usual. Just want to check something out real quick before we dive in. Trying to see if I can just get a pair of boots off the marketplace. And oddly enough, I think I just got the same exact message that I got the last pair of boots that I tried to buy on stream. Which I suppose is kind of the downside of making offers on some of these items that people aren't putting an asking price on. Let's see here. Oh, no, it's just submitted. That's really odd. Let's cancel that one then, so I don't keep getting that same message over and over again. Hey, what's up, Soho? Welcome back. Yeah, tonight's stream I'm just going to go ahead and do a little bit of delve content. I do want to get a bit further down in the depths. Lag doesn't seem to be as bad in the mines as much as it does when I'm actually mapping, so hopefully this will go by a little smoother. Plus this is useful anyways. I want to get down to some lower levels so that way I can get some decent fossils and everything. Better fossils, better resonators, that way I can start crafting my own gear. We can craft now, but it's just a lot more difficult. Plus I figure if we get some fossils and some resonators, one of these nights we can actually do like just a strictly crafting stream, where I can kind of show just how useful the fossils and resonators can be. Let's see, I think I have my auras on, just gotta get my buddy here. Delving, these mines run a lot smoother than the maps do, which says a lot just because I know a lot of people have actually had problems with lag down here in the mines also. But it probably helps these monsters a little lower level too. Hey guys, what's up? That's crazy, like 4 of you guys all came in at the exact same time. Yeah, I prefer two-handed weapon for Cyclone. It seems to work a lot smoother. Yeah, we'll see how far we can get with the amount of sulfate I currently have. I got 1500, so we should be able to delve for a little while before running out. Yeah, as long as you don't have to refund too much early, it's not that bad. That's kind of where I'm at right now. There's a couple of pieces of gear I want to replace before I dive too much further into mapping. Just because I've gotten into red tier, but the lag's just killing me right now, so I just need some better survivability to be able to last. That's a pretty good Hall of Azure right there. Let's see. Just a bit too much stuff to kind of go through here. I also want to change up one of my flasks here soon too, just because my onslaught. I'm either going to switch out my onslaught flask just because it's not doing a whole lot right now because of the fact that I get onslaught whenever I get a kill. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Oh, that's the other new skill gem. Yeah, I'm still kind of getting accustomed to some of the newer skill gems this season. So I switched up to one of them in the last stream. Nice. So let's see, I have it slotted in my helmet. Yeah, I'm using Blood and Sand and Pride. Those are the two new ones that I'm using. Yeah, I'll have to check out Flesh and Stone. Get all these stupid spires out of the face. I'm just soloing mines tonight anyways. I just need a night of lag-free gameplay. That's nuts, dude. I still don't have an Exalted this league. I've had no luck with Exalt drops. Hoping that'll change tonight. I don't know how good my odds will be running the mines at this depth, but you never know. I mean, Exalted Orbs can technically drop anywhere. And I'm due. I'm long overdue this league for an Exalted drop. There'll probably be something dumb too, like I'll overturn a rock and it'll pop out. I've had that happen. That's actually my chest I have to use to activate this. Come on, pirates. So yeah, tonight I'm going to do some delve. Wednesday I'll probably hit up maps again. We'll do a big community play again on Wednesday. And then Friday I'm still a bit undecided for. Just because there's a new game coming out on Friday that I really want to play that I might stream instead. Or I may just do a brief Path of Exile stream and then jump into that game. Should be a little different because it's actually a Nintendo Switch game that's coming out on Friday that I'm really looking forward to playing. I've actually mentioned it a few times on the channel. Anyone got a guess to what it is? Some more azurite. It's always weird when I get a loading screen down here in the delve. Take deck deck. Dragon Quest is a good guess, but it's not Dragon Quest. I know Dragon Quest is coming out for the Switch soon, though. Venom is a character in the game. Hey, Wavy, what's up? Ooh, gotta follow that card. Fire Emblem actually comes out, not this Friday, but next. But I will be playing that also. So that's actually a very solid guess. But it's actually Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Yep. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 comes out on Friday. Been looking forward to that for quite a while. I've checked out quite a few videos on it. It sounds like there's going to be a somewhat complicated skill tree, so I'm looking forward to that. So there's actually going to be some relatively heavy RPG elements into it. It won't be nearly as complex as Path of Exile, I'm assuming. But it definitely sounds like it's not going to be a mindless hack and slash, which is good. That's kind of what I was afraid of when they first announced it. Granted, I don't mind games like that, but I've been looking forward to having a good Marvel RPG to play ever since Marvel Heroes shut down. Not that Marvel Heroes was good at its time of shutting down, but it's the closest thing I had. Yeah, dude, the first two are good, especially the first one. Sad thing is, like, I don't know if you can even buy the first two anymore. Like, you can get used copies, but they have, like, the digital version on PS4. And I don't know if you can buy that version anymore because I think it was published by Activision. And Activision lost the rights to the game. Well, Marvel pulled the rights to the game. So because of that, it came down from the PS4 market, which, I don't know, that's kind of stupid to me, but I guess that's what happened when that's what happens when licenses get pulled from games. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of silly. I think people should still have the option to purchase if they want to. I did read online a little while back that apparently some people are still able to purchase like digital codes from like third-party realtors like Amazon and stuff, and the code still worked. But I don't know, it seems like a little bit of a risk. But I guess story-wise, the third one's not even going to be connected to the first two. It's going to be kind of its own separate entity. But yeah, it looks like it has, you know, drop-in, drop-out co-op, just like the first two did. Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. It must be if I'm a certain distance away from the next destination that actually gives me a loading screen. Anybody pick up any good deals on it's called Prime Day? Is that the technical name for it? Actually ended up scoring a competitor deal this weekend, and I picked up Kingdom Hearts 3 for 20 bucks at GameStop. That was a solid deal. Kingdom Hearts would actually be a solid game for a Throwback Thursday, I think. There's a lot of places floating around like free Amazon Prime like trial codes and stuff right now. Plus, if you've never used a free trial before, you can probably do that now. You just have to remember to cancel it afterwards. But of course, that's if, you know, there's a deal that you actually want. If there's not, then there's not really much of a point. Monster Hunter World's solid. I put a good 200 hours into that game, no exaggeration, over the amount of time that it's been out. They've got their big final DLC. It's either coming out soon or just came out. I know the beta was out for it a little while ago. Yeah, Monster Hunter is super solid. Like, for anyone, I finally got a chance to play a little bit of Dauntless, things like that. And Monster Hunter World is basically just a better version of Dauntless, a more in-depth version of Dauntless. Dauntless is kind of Monster Hunter light. Yeah, Monster Hunter is a very solid series. There's actually, I forget what they call it here on YouTube, where you can actually like promote other channels on like the main title page of your channel. But there's a guy on YouTube who is a good friend of mine. His YouTube name is Mr. So-and-so, and he has a lot of really good Monster Hunter World videos up on his YouTube page. He's really good at the game, so I would definitely trust his tutorial videos. He covers a lot of different games, but Monster Hunter World is the one I think he has the most videos up for. So if it's a game you're looking to get started in, and like you find yourself getting stuck, or just maybe even just want to watch a few videos on it before like making that purchase plan, I would definitely recommend his channel. He's got some solid content, super smart dude. I think I actually played more Monster Hunter World with him than anyone else. Yeah, I've just had Prime for a while. I use their music service at work. Makes the day go by quicker. Listen to some YouTube videos in the background sometimes, but for the most part, I'm either listening to some music on Amazon Music, or I listen to a lot of stand-up comedy on there too, because they got a pretty good selection. A lot of spiders down here. They need to clean up more often. That's a tough one. There's a lot of comedians I really like. Guess it really depends on like what kind of mood I'm in. Cause I really like Tom Segura. I like Jim Jeffries. Jim Gaffigan's a good comedian. Aziz Ansari. Kyle Kinane. There's just a lot of really good stand-up comedians out there. Of all time, though, it's probably George Carlin. I mean, Carlin and Richard Pryor, they're the greats. They're kind of the two guys everyone strives to be in stand-up comedy. But I mean, we live in a pretty good age for stand-up comedians. John Mulaney's really good. It's really hard to pick a favorite. Bill Burr's hilarious. I listen to him pretty regularly too.
I'll listen to like Robin Williams' old stand-up too, and just be sad that he's gone. For anyone who only knows him from his movies, gotta check out his stand-up comedy. He was a very funny stand-up comic, very different from his movies. I will warn you ahead of time that the man uses some language. But I think you definitely make a case for him being one of the greats too. Russell Peters, he's had a couple of Netflix specials now, hasn't he? I think I know who you're talking about. If he's who I'm thinking of, I've watched a couple of his Netflix specials and they were really good. I've seen him too. I think he also has a Netflix special or two. That's what's great about Netflix. They've actually got a lot of good stand-up on there. They used to have all the old Comedy Central Presents on there, but they took that down like a few years ago. That was actually a really good place to catch specials of comedians like before they actually got famous. Like I know Dane Cook kind of fell out, and like not many people watch him, and I don't even know if he even does anything anymore, to be honest. But like the first time I ever saw him was on his Comedy Central Presents special, and like he was hilarious back then. Same with like I mean that's where I first heard like Jim Gaffigan, like Frank Caliendo's first special. Remember, I don't think that's the first place I heard Louis, though. The first time I ever heard any of Louis' stand-up was on his actual specials. Nick Swartzen had a couple of really good specials early on in his career. And Daniel Tosh is always funny too. He was on there too. He got a lot of flack, but he was a funny dude. Gary Owen, I'll have to look him up. There's the name I actually haven't heard.
I believe in traveling light.
Random desert map. I haven't really gotten a whole lot so far. Some 6 socket items, that's about it. These are all low level, and it's not going to do me any good. That's a new name too. I haven't heard of him either. That's the thing, like I said, we live in like a kind of like a new golden age of stand-up comedy. Why won't this just discard? There we go. God, that took a bit too much effort right there. Should not be having this much difficulty discarding items. Come on. Okay, well that 6 socket's just gonna stay there, I guess. So I gotta go back to the surface.
Thought I heard something.
At least to let me still sell stuff. Just a bunch of trash I don't need. 2080. 1606. Yeah, it's all stuff I don't need. I wanted to try and move around some stuff to still get that 6 socket item. I mean, I suppose I can go back to that same spot and it should still be there. But it's just annoying. Yeah, see, that worked. Super weird. Okay, let's see. Some more darkness resistance. Some more capacity. More light radius. Get more flares. More dynamite. That's a pretty big upgrade there. Okay, good. So where did our cart... Oh, it's right here. Okay, good. So it didn't let us travel right back. Can never be too careful now in this game. So far I've been lagging too bad down here though, so that's good. Lag deaths just get kind of old after a while. I did make one Prime Day purchase today. They had a pretty decent webcam that was for sale. It's like normally like $100 webcam is on sale for $40. It seemed like a pretty good pickup. Especially because I wanted to make that video about like hand placement on the controller when trying to use flasks in a hurry, which I think that'll come in handy for. I honestly don't remember off the top of my head. I just remember there in general being a bonus for running it, and I know one of the actual league challenges to get your cosmetic items, one of them's typically tied into running, I want to say it's 10 different tiers of unidentified maps. Actually makes me curious now. Because I thought it was like a item quantity or item quality bonus. Yeah, it's a 30% item quantity bonus. So yeah, that's what I thought it was. I just didn't want to... I like to double check before I say things off the top of my head. Especially because a lot of this stuff changes over time. So yeah, it basically just increases your drops and helps you towards your league challenge. But, I mean, obviously you don't know the different modifiers you're going to get. And as anyone who saw my last stream can tell you, not knowing what modifiers you have can be a real pain. It can literally make you fail a map, which is just not fun. So many scrolls. Feels like a good percentage of my drops. So far this league I've only failed a couple of, let's say, like tier 11 and tier 12, but I mean it happens. Like you'll just run into one super weird map where like the modifiers just don't work well for you. The lag doesn't help either. Yeah, that honestly, that's kind of been like my big grievance with the game, this league. Like the league mechanics themselves are fun. God, is the lag terrible. Like I don't think the game's ever run this poorly. You know, granted, before it came out on PS4, I only played like a few leagues on PC. But still, I mean, there's a stream. It was like a couple of weeks ago, I want to say, where I had lag so bad that like I literally just stood in place. See, that's insane. Like, I feel like I've been relatively fortunate with the blue screens. Like, I typically at least get through a stream without blue screening at all. There was a boss that we were running last stream that kept one-shotting me. The thing is, I don't even know if they're one-shots or, like, if you enter the room, you lag for just long enough to where your health gets whittled down to make it look like a one-shot. Although it looked like that guy was firing projectiles on me at a mile a minute. So he very well could have one-shot me. But honestly, that's kind of why delving is a nice little change of pace. Like, I can just kind of cruise through delving and just relax, and yeah, I might get caught in the darkness, but I mean, as long as you go through while you're delving and hit the surface and actually, you know, use some of your azurite to level up like your light radius and your darkness resistance. Maybe somewhat of a like, casual little stroll, as long as you don't like too bad. See, like, that's a problem, because, like, you should be excited to have a tier 9 unique map. It should be something like you're looking forward to running. But because of the state of the game, like, it becomes more of a, oh man, this is what I found. I don't know, like, I don't want to assume that the rest of Legion League's gonna kind of be like that, but I have a hard time believing it won't be. Like, I'm lagging really hard right now. There we go. So it wouldn't even let me... Wouldn't let me proc any skills for a second. I was just standing there. I'm getting plenty of armor scrap down here tonight. But to be honest, I don't mind. The drops don't really matter to me right now, just because I'm basically just trying to get further down the depths. I actually don't mind the grind and the delve. I just prefer the way an ARPG feels in the controller. Which feels kind of weird to say, because, like, I have a gaming mouse and everything. I have a Razer Naga mouse, which is super nice. And, like, it's comfortable, and, like, has all the, you know, numbers right there on the side of the mouse, but I don't know, man. I've just always been a console gamer at heart, so it feels a lot more natural to me to have a controller in my hand. Oh, that's why there were flare caches there. Because you have to leap into the darkness for this area. At least they're nice enough to give those. And, like, the game runs great on PC. Like, if you have a gaming PC... Like, mine's a gaming PC. It's a little older. Hey, Legend, what's up? Hey, yo, what's up? There we go. Took me a second to actually get to that little area there. Yeah, like, my computer still runs the game just fine. I don't know. I like playing it on console. That's a new one. And honestly, like, that's a good idea. I had to do a little bit of shopping after work today, but I do have a video planned. I was going to film it today, but it'll probably just go up tomorrow now instead. And it's basically just 5 tips to help avoid burnout on Path of Exile. And I mean, it pertains to a lot of different games. But I mean, that's kind of one of them. It's a part of one of them. Just, you know, kind of walking away from the game for a bit. Like if you get frustrated, or like you're just doing something that's a really long grind, sometimes it's nice to just walk away. Like I have other games that I play outside of Path of Exile. It's probably the main game that I play, but there's other stuff I enjoy too. Like I have a pretty solid Nintendo Switch library, just because, I mean, I love that thing. There's just, like, the first console that I ever owned, like, that I bought with my own money, was a Game Boy Pocket. So there's just something special to me about being able to have, like, console quality games on a handheld unit. That's just really awesome to me. But, I mean, otherwise, even on the PS4, like, I play Crash Team Racing, Apex Legends. I want to find time to play through the whole Kingdom Hearts series again. Especially since I just bought the third one from GameStop on sale. You can get that game quite a few places for $20 right now. Dude, I love the OG Game Boy. I don't care what anyone says. That big, ugly green screen is fantastic. And I love the fact that, like, on a lot of the classic consoles, they'll actually throw in, like, a filter where you can make it look like the old, you know, retro consoles like that. I remember before I had my Game Boy Pocket, one of my buddies had the OG Game Boy, and playing Pokemon Blue on that thing. Like, we just kind of hand the game back and forth. So much fun. Yeah, didn't that thing take like 4 AA batteries? That's what was nice about the Pocket. The Pocket took 2 AAA batteries, except like my mom would know that I stole the remote batteries, because like the TV remotes would all be dead because I'd pop them into my Game Boy when my Game Boy batteries died. Yeah, Nintendo's just always had a really good way with portable consoles. They've always known what they were doing. I think Sony would have done well if they would have just made more games for the Vita. And if the network play would have actually worked the way they intended to. Dude, that was a close one. Yeah, the Game Boy Color was awesome. I remember getting the DX version of Link's Awakening and going in the Color Dungeon. Yeah, that was a great game. I'm so happy they're remaking that for the Switch. It's one of the few games I actually like pre-ordered the special edition to get like the art book that comes with it. I've probably played through that game at least 10 times as a kid. I'm a sucker for a good Zelda game. I'm probably the only Path of Exile streamer that you'll hear actually like gush about Nintendo games. Dude, that's awesome. I mean, they're making that that fully portable version of the Switch that's coming out, the Switch Lite. $200. Which, I mean, you get the right games for Switch, and they have, I mean, Breath of the Wild alone. I was glued to that game when the Switch came out.
the best way to describe Breath of the Wild for anyone who hasn't played it. I mean, honestly, imagine like the Zelda universe, but like Skyrim gameplay, almost. Like just completely open world. Just a crazy amount of stuff to do. Plus they got the essentials. You got your Smash Bros. And your Mario Kart. Yeah, unfortunately most of my retro gaming stuff from over the years either lost in moves or just kind of gotten rid of in general over time. I do still have like one of the original Game Boy Advances tucked away somewhere though. Yeah, I might have an original PlayStation put away somewhere too. Things got a little dangerous there for a second. Oh crap, my whirlwind, or my cyclone's not hitting anything. So I've gotten a little better. Hey, what's up, Fearless? I've gotten a little better at making sure that like I stop holding that button and start to like leap slam to get out of that. Because it's literally just the only way to save yourself when your cyclone stops hitting. Yeah, potentially, if that fits your build. I mean, my two-handed sword only does between 233 to 431 physical damage. I mean, obviously it has all the other affixes on it that add to that, but just drop me an Exalted Orb. I know you want to. Oh, crap. Yeah, Leaf Slam's solid in general. I didn't really use it a whole lot before last league. Okay, I'd pretty much always used Shield Charge or Flame Dash. Got me unique.
on my my flares. It sucks. I don't think I can get much further. I don't think I have any flare. I got one flare left. Oh wow. That would have been great for my build last league. I honestly think, I mean, for me, the best way for me to generate currency consistently is just using that chaos recipe. And other than that, like, just running Delve is probably the next best way. I think I actually need to go back and just purchase some more flares. Upgrade capacity, definitely upgrade the radius. Make sure I max out first. That should help a bit. Okay, so let's see. That looks like a dead end through there. I think 7 flares will be enough to get me through here. At least I hope. Oh my god. Why am I not hitting this guy? Here we go. Crap. I wasn't quick enough on that one. First rip of the night. Apply everything again. Crap. It's the one kind of annoying thing about nah, for tier 2, as long as you got the survivability, you'll be fine. I haven't done much evasion-based builds yet. Honestly, next league I'll probably get into that because I plan on making an archer character, which I think evasion will be super useful on. So I may actually be doing that as soon as next league. Mapping's fun. It's just I don't want to say it's necessarily bad this league. Because I mean, yeah, there's the lag, but honestly, like the first few tiers of maps, you're not even gonna run into it that much. Where are those impale nodes? Through here? Yeah. Is it just not gonna let me? It's super weird. Oh, it's because I died in that area. It's not gonna let me go back. That's unfortunate. Yeah, at least I'll have the flares for the next one. So, the thing is with stacking your life, you need to make sure you have a high base value as well as a high percentage. Typically, and it's not always the case, because it's based off of where you are in the skill tree. But on your passive tree, it's usually easier to stack the percentage, and it's easier to stack your base life, your maximum life, on your gear. That's just from my own experience, though. Like, I think an evasion build could be solid. But yeah, you definitely need to make sure you have enough life for the times that you do get hit. I mean, it'd be possible. I ran a zombie mancer last league that had a decent amount of health. And I mean, that's kind of... I mean, it's not necessarily melee, but I mean, your minions are doing all the damage, but... Since I was stacking strength, you know, that increased my life too. Which is another way to increase your life, is by stacking strength. And you can somewhat get away with not having as much health with the Necromancer. Yeah, cast when damage taken is essential for a Necromancer build. There's a few different setups you can run. I forget which one I had running on my Necromancer last league. God, that was some weird lag.
Y'all gonna die.
I think that room right there is actually where I wanted to get to. So there's an abandoned jewelry area. A 6-socket. Pretty sure that's all we really wanted to grab from there. .66 sulfite. Everything else is unknown. I actually switched up this build to where I'm using a cast when damage taken now. I think it's assigned to here. Oh, maybe not. Where did this is in my gloves? Yeah, so my enfeeble is actually assigned to my cast when damage taken. The only trick for anyone who hasn't done a lot of cast when damage taken on their builds in the past, the only trick is just to make sure that you keep your cast when damage taken support gem low enough to the point where you're not having to take a ton of damage in order to trigger it. I normally don't recommend getting it anywhere past level 4 or 5, just because then you're likely, I mean, and this isn't necessarily always true, but you're typically not going to be proccing that skill enough to make it useful. So, you know, if I level it all the way up and I have to take a few thousand damage in order to cast that skill, with exception, but for the most part, I'm just not going to be proccing the skill as often as I need to be. Like, I have my enfeeble curse attached to it. The other thing to pay attention to is, so right now I have it at level 4, so it only takes 725 damage in order to actually proc that spell, but it's only going to support skill gems requiring level 44 or lower. And right now my enfeeble, it requires level 42. So if I level this up one more time, I believe, I could be wrong, it could go up to 44 exactly. But if I level this up again, I run the risk of it requiring a higher level than what cast when damage taken support will actually support. So that's something you want to keep your eye on. But before I was running enfeeble as an aura, and I actually switched that up because someone had given me the tip about one of the new skill gems, Pride, which was basically doing the same thing that one of my other gems was doing that I had in an aura, and running it this way I'm actually using less mana in reserve, and I can finally get rid of these boots. Because aside from having that additional curse to be able to cast as an aura from these boots, it doesn't have a lot of usefulness outside of that. It's an okay amount of armor, but nearly any other like decent boots are going to give me higher armor. The elemental resistances, I can roll those much higher on another pair of boots. Same with the movement speed. Elemental damage, I don't even do elemental damage, and without having that second aura, like, I don't need that additional curse anymore. Temporal Chains is really solid too, especially for a Necromancer build. I just like Enfeeble in general. It's a nice, I consider it a defensive buff, even though it's really just a debuff for your enemies, but I mean, debuffing your enemies it's pretty much a defensive buff for you. Yeah, Enfeeble's one of my favorite curses. I think it's pretty solid. I probably should have actually gone back. Gotten rid of some items because my inventory is actually pretty full now. That's actually pretty decent. It's a good way to kind of draw a comparison here. Cyclone currently does 31,463. I do lose a little bit of DPS. But that's without me adding quality to this, and I don't know if it actually takes into account the extra critical strike chance either. That might be a decent replacement at some point. I'll have to keep my eye on that. Damage is easier to scale than defenses, though, so I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. There's worse places that you can be lacking. Accuracy, life. Some mana. A lot of wasted stats on that ring overall, though. I'm gonna see if I can go back to the encampment and then head back through there again.
Welcome.
If not, I may have just wasted some sulfite, but whatever. My inventory was pretty well full anyways, so it's going to prevent me from really grabbing anything extra. Hey, what's up, DJ? Yeah, I can check it out at some point, because this ring, I've been using this, but honestly, I've been using it for the onslaught, but in all reality, I don't need that. I just need to manage my flask. I just need to use my flask. It's not even managing it, it's just I need to actually use my flasks more often. I'll actually just stash that away for now. Oh snap! If I remember correctly, I actually haven't done a magic find build. The only reason is, at least from my experience in other ARPGs, you're typically better off using those extra stats towards damage or defense. That's just my own personal preference, so there are plenty of people who will go magic find builds. I honestly probably would have gone farming blood aqueducts by this point to get a Tabula, but like my chest piece actually gives me a pretty decent amount of stats.
out of flares, aren't I? I just realized that. Yeah, I'm 0 for 7. That sucks. I'll have to go back. Yeah, I definitely will, just because, I mean, each league, I'm always trying to build something new. I think that kind of helps, like, kind of helps you avoid burnout, too. I mean, you can potentially corrupt a tabula to gain stats, but I mean, just like corrupting anything else, you can also completely ruin it. I actually corrupted a Rasa last league, and I ended up turning it into a 5-link rare item. So in other words, I lost the gamble. Which was fine, like it was later on in the league. The Rasa wasn't really worth a whole lot at that point. It was worth like, I think people were selling for like 20 chaos at that point, which I mean, 20 chaos is 20 chaos, but it's not like early on in the league we can get a lot more for it. It's like I wasn't too disappointed by it. It was more or less to just give it a shot to see if I could actually get something valuable out of it. And I already had one Tabula with that character anyways. It was on my flashback character in Synthesis, so I mean, I don't know. I thought the risk was fine on it. Like, obviously I lost and didn't get rewarded for the risk, but it happens. Die in here, maybe not. Just ran out of flares again. Don't think I have any Azurite to get more either. So I'll probably actually have to come back to these last two areas. Oh, Arnie's popped down here. Hopefully those fractured walls are like right by that too. Yeah, I'll give it some thought. I mean, on Wednesday, I plan on doing kind of the usual, the community map runs again, so. We got blue screen, boys and girls.